Does it ever feel like there is a literal roar inside your head? The should-haves, the what-ifs, the mental anguish that fills the silence your child left behind? That is grief noise. It's loud, it's heavy, and it's exhausting. But what if I told you that God isn't in that noise? Today, we're giving you permission to step out of that grief noise, to change the frequency, and to find the peace that's promised in Isaiah 26:3. I pray you'll stay with me. If you're grieving the death of your child and you want the steps that lead to believing with confidence that life is still worth living, then you're in the right place. Hello, I'm Teresa, a grief mentor. That's been where you are, and I teach grieving moms like you how to navigate life after child loss. If you're ready to take a step of courage and build a solid foundation to live with hope and purpose, then I'm here to teach you how. Are you ready for what God has for you? Then I'm ready to teach you. Welcome back to the Grief Mentor podcast. This is your host, Teresa Davis, and I'm so honored that you're here. We are in our Permission and Practice series, and today we're tackling the mental battlefield. We're moving from the roar of the storm to the power of a stayed mind. Now, before we get started, I have a question for you, and you're going to hear me say it more than once today. And that question is, whose voice are you listening to? Because we're going to talk about something that most grieving moms experience, but can't figure out how to stop. And that, my friend, is the noise of grief. Because your mind keeps trying to make sense of something that will never fully make sense this side of heaven. And because of that, the thoughts just keep coming. But there is a moment in Scripture that I want to show you today that speaks directly to this experience. Think Elijah in 1 Kings 19. He was standing on a mountain with wind tearing through the rocks, ripping them apart, an earthquake. And there was a fire, and it was loud and overwhelming. But what the Scripture tells us is the Lord was not in the noise. He was in the gentle whisper that came after Elijah turned his head and his ear toward God's voice. So, friend, I have a question for you today. Whose voice are you listening to? Elijah had just walked through one of the most intense seasons of his life. He was exhausted, overwhelmed, and literally running for his life. And when he finally came to the mountain, God told him to stand outside because the Lord was about to pass by. You see, he was going to teach him something. And what he taught Elijah that day is what he wants you to hear right now. Something remarkable happened. Scripture tells us that a powerful wind tore through the mountain, but the Lord wasn't in the wind. The earthquake shook the ground, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. Then a fire passed by, but the Lord was not in the fire. Friend, whose voice are you listening to? Is it your own? Because what I've learned is that the enemy is very skilled at making his voice sound like your own voice. After all this happened to Elijah, there came a gentle whisper. You see, our anchor verse for today is Isaiah 26:3, and this is what it says. You will keep in perfect peace him whose mind is stayed, fixed on you, because he trusts you. Here's the truth about grief noise. It demands 100% of your bandwidth. It's urgent. It's loud. It's demanding. It's overwhelming. And it can be constant. But here's something very important that I don't want you to miss today. Peace is not necessarily the absence of the noise. Maybe you're like me and you lived in a all or nothing world where everything used to be black and white until my son died. And then all of a sudden, there was a whole lot of gray. This is what I want you to learn. Isaiah 26:3 does not say that peace comes when we have perfect circumstances. It does not say that peace comes when I have a perfect understanding of the why. No, friend, that's not when peace comes. The scripture tells us that peace comes when our minds are fixed on Jesus. That's when peace and rest comes. You see, the second part of that verse says, because we trust him. If your mind stays fixed on the fire of your loss, friend, I'm here to tell you, you're going to burn out. In order to reach that place of peace that your heart so desperately desires, you got to pivot your frequency. Whose voice are you listening to? Because most of the time, the loudest voice wins. But just like Elijah, we have to pivot. We have to turn our heads so that our ear is close to the whispers of God. You might say, well, sounds great, Teresa, but how do I do it? Okay. Are you ready for this? Number 1, you must seek the truth. And number 2, you must seek community. Not just any kind of community, friend, the right kind of community. The type of community that honors Jesus. Tony and I just returned late last night, from a While We're Waiting retreat. Pain is present, but courage to keep showing up when you don't understand was also present. It's a beautiful thing to witness, friend. It's a beautiful thing. Because community is important. Because guess what? You can't do this on your own. Yeah? Our culture has pushed us into isolation because of many things that we won't go into in the podcast today. But our culture pushes us into isolation. We have to push back from that constantly. We could stay at home on our devices and in our own minds. But friend, your mind is a battlefield. And if you haven't figured that out yet, I am so thankful that you are listening to this podcast. One of the things that our culture has taken away from us is community. When you don't have the right kind of community, friend, you're going to get burned out. And despair is going to loom large. All right, let's just say that you are seeking truth and you have sought the right kind of community. Now what? Well, here comes your permission to practice. I'm so glad you asked. So let's do the work, because grief is work. I would be lying to you if I said otherwise. But here's the risk of not doing the work, is staying in the same lane that you're in right now. So I'm going to give you 3 steps today to help you pivot away from the noise of grief. Number 1, become aware. Number 2, name it. And number 3, make it obedient. Well, what's that look like? Well, becoming aware says, I need to start learning when I am hearing the loud noise of grief. The wind is blowing. And then you got to remind yourself that God's not in this noise. All right, then we got to name it. We got to pin it down. We got to say it out loud. If it's the noise of guilt, or if it's the noise of future fear, naming it reminds you that the fire isn't you. It's just happening all around you. And then you got to make it obedient, friend. You got to tell those thoughts where to go. You got to say, guilt, you're going to sit down because my mind is focused on Jesus. And then quote the scripture, Isaiah 26:3. Because listen, guilt can stand up and shout pretty loud, can it not? Fear can stand up and shout pretty loud. Doubt can stand up and shout pretty loud. The key is replacing it with truth. Whose voice are you listening to? You don't have to figure out how to navigate the wind and the fire all alone, friend. If you need a hand to help you quiet the noise of grief, to pivot to a different frequency, I want to invite you to a Grief Mentor session. These are one-on-one spaces designed specifically for grieving moms to help quiet the roar. You can find that link in my show notes or on my website at thegriefmentor.com. Let's make those thoughts obedient together. The wind might still be blowing outside your door, friend, but your mind can be fixed and focused on the one who provides peace. The Amplified Version says it like this: you will keep in perfect and constant peace the one whose mind is steadfast, committed, and focused on you, because he trusts you and he takes refuge in you with hope and confident expectation. Isaiah 26:3. You have permission today to listen to the whisper. And that's all I have for you today. So until next time, take care.